Of necessity, game descriptions are logically incomplete in that they don't uniquely specify the moves of all the players. However, every game description does contain complete definitions for initial state, legality, termination, goalhood, and so forth. The upshot is that in every state, every player can determine those things, legality, termination, goalhood, and given a joint move, can update the state as well. A game terminates if all infinite sequences of legal moves from the initial state of the game reach a terminal state after a finite number of steps. In general game playing, we currently require that all games terminate in exactly this way. A game description in GDL is playable, a game is playable, if and only if every role has at least one legal move in every non-terminal state that's reachable from the initial state. Note that in chess, a player cannot move. If a player cannot move, it's a stalemate. Fortunately, this is a terminal state. In GGP, we guarantee that every game is playable. A game is strongly winnable if and only if, for some player, there is a sequence of individual moves of that player that leads to a terminating goal state for that player, independently of whatever the other players do. A game is weakly winnable if and only if for every player there's a sequence of joint moves of the players that leads to a terminating goal state for that player. In GGP, every game is at least weakly winnable, and all single-player games are strongly winnable. Okay, those are three properties we require of all games. Now we talk a little bit about how games are played. The first issue here is obfuscation. In order to prevent programmers from building in specialized capability for specific words in game descriptions other than the game-independent vocabulary, it's common for game managers to obfuscate their descriptions. This means that all words are consistently replaced by nonsense words, as an example shown here. The only exceptions are variables and a selection of constants common to all games, such as next, does, true, and so forth. And finally, there's the issue of syntax. The version of GDL we've been looking at uses traditional infix syntax, easy for humans to read. However, it's not the only version of the language. There's also a version that uses prefix syntax. Although some general game playing environments support infix GDL, it's not universal. On the other hand, all current systems support prefix GDL. The good news is that there is a direct relationship between the two syntaxes, and it's easy to convert between them. It's just, well, let's see, let's summarize some of these things here. So first of all, variables are prefixed with question mark since the language is case independent. Operators are renamed, colon minus is replaced by a left arrow, ampersand is replaced by and the tilde symbol is replaced by not, NOT. There's just one issue to worry about in this translation between prefix and infix. The issue is the spelling of constants and variables. Prefix GDL is case independent, so we cannot use capital letters to distinguish the two. Constants are spelled the same in both versions, but in prefix GDL we distinguish variables by beginning with the character question mark. Thus, the constant a is the same in both languages, while the variable x in infix GDL is spelled question mark x, or question mark capital X, in prefix GDL. Unfortunately, mapping between the two can be tricky since a case-independent system might discard case information. Hence, it's generally good practice to use just one case in naming constants, and it's common practice to use lowercase. Finally, just to be clear in this, in prefix GDL, white space, spaces, tabs, carriage returns, line feeds, and so forth, can appear anywhere other than in the middle of constants, variables, and operator names, that is. Thus, there can be multiple spaces between the components of an expression. There can be spaces after the opening parenthesis of an expression and before the operator or relation constant or function constant. And there can be spaces after the last component of expression and before the closing parenthesis. Just no spaces in the middle of words, relation constants, function constants, object constants, or variables.